You know the story. For 10 brutal years, the Greeks have been stuck outside the walls of Troy. They can't get in. The city just seems unbreakable. Then, one morning, something's different. The Greek army vanished, and there on the beach, left behind, is this single, incredible offering, a giant wooden horse.
The Trojans, totally ecstatic, think it's a gift for the gods, a sign of their victory. So they do the unthinkable. They drag it inside their own impenetrable walls. But as the city celebrates and finally falls asleep, a tiny hidden door creaks open. Greek soldiers pour out, they sprint to the gates, unlock them for their waiting army, and by sunrise, the legendary city of Troy is gone. Just ashes. It's the greatest trick ever played.
But what if I told you the most famous con in all of history never actually happened? What if the horse itself is the real myth here?
Well, welcome to We Are False, where we dig into the stories that go against the grain and challenge what we all think we know. We're tackling the Trojan Horse today, because get this, historians are pretty much all in agreement. That story you just heard? It's a myth. There is absolutely zero archaeological evidence for it. But the real story is so much better. It's got archaeology, angry gods, and ancient superweapons.
So, maybe the ultimate trick of the Trojan horse isn't the one played on the Trojans. It's the one it's played on all of us for thousands of years, making us believe it was a real thing. So, let's peel back the layers of this legend.
Okay, first things first. Before we can even talk about how Troy fell, we have to ask a more basic question. Was Troy even a real place to begin with? For a long time, people thought, no way.
Seriously, for most of history, Troy was kind of filed away with places like Atlantis, pure fantasy. But that all changed in the 1870s. An archaeologist named Heinrich Schliemann basically took Homer's epic poem, the Iliad, and used it like a treasure map. He started digging in modern-day Turkey, and what he found was incredible. Not just one Troy, but 9 cities, all built right on top of each other. So yeah, the setting for our story? Totally 100% real.
And when you look at those layers of the city, they tell a pretty violent story all on their own. Around 1300 BCE, one version of Troy gets completely wiped out by a massive earthquake. Then, the city built right on top of those ruins gets destroyed by fire and war around 1180 BCE, which is our best guess for when the actual Trojan War happened. So we've got a real city and a real war.
But you know what we don't have? After more than 150 years of digging at that site, this is the amount of physical proof. We're talking wood splinters, blueprints, anything that has ever been found for a giant wooden horse. Zero. Nada. Nothing. And that brings us to the real mystery, doesn't it? If the horse is just a story, then what's the truth? The city was destroyed, the walls came down, something must have done it. And it turns out historians have a couple of really fascinating theories. The first theory, and probably the most popular one, suggests the horse wasn't a gift at all. It was actually a weapon of war, hiding in plain sight. And look, this idea isn't new. People have been skeptical for ages. The Greek geographer Pausanias, writing almost 2,000 years ago, basically said the story was ridiculous. He argued it was obviously some kind of contrivance to make a breach in the Trojan Wall. In other words, a machine.
So, how does a war machine become this legendary horse? Well, it's actually pretty logical. At the time, other civilizations, like the Assyrians, were using these enormous wheeled battering rams. And to stop them from being set on fire, they'd cover the whole thing in wet horse hides. They even used to name their war machines after animals. So you can see how, over centuries of telling and retelling the story, the big horse-like siege engine could easily get polished into the Trojan horse.
Okay, but there's another theory. One that's a little more elemental. What if the thing that broke through Troy's walls wasn't made by man at all? What if it was an act of God?
Now, to get this, you have to know a little bit about the god Poseidon. We all know him as the god of the sea and, this is key, the god of horses. But he had another, more terrifying title, the Earth Shaker. He was the god of earthquakes. So remember that, horses and earthquakes, both his domain.
This is where it all clicks into place. In the myths, Poseidon had a huge grudge against the king of Troy. We also know from the archaeology that one of the layers of Troy was completely leveled by a massive earthquake. So the theory is that the Trojan horse was never a physical thing. It was a powerful metaphor. The horse, Poseidon's sacred animal, was the symbol for his divine revenge, an earthquake that cracked open those unbreakable walls, finally letting the Greek army rush in.
So, a high-tech battering ram or a divinely sent earthquake? Honestly, either way, it's pretty clear the story we all know is more powerful poetry than actual history. So why on earth has it survived for so long?
So let's just put these two ideas side by side. You've got the battering ram theory, a practical military solution that fits with the technology of the time. And then you have the earthquake theory, which just so beautifully ties together Greek mythology with the hard scientific evidence we found in the ground.
But in the end, the historical accuracy almost isn't the point. The reason we're still talking about this story thousands of years later isn't because it's true, it's because its meaning is so much bigger than the details. It's a symbol that everyone, everywhere, instantly understands.
I mean, think about it. The idea is so powerful, it's literally part of our modern language. We all know what a Trojan Horse virus is, right? It's a program that looks like something useful or fun. You invite it onto your computer, and then it unleashes something destructive. The gift hides the attack. It's the exact same idea.
So, the giant wooden horse might just be a myth, but the lesson behind it? That is terrifyingly real. It's this timeless warning that the most devastating threats, the ones that really bring us down, they often don't break down our doors. They're the ones we pull inside ourselves, disguised as a gift. And it kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What's hiding inside your walls?